This is the Fearless Agent Podcast, where you learn how to make way more money fast selling real estate with your host, the Fearless Agent himself, Bobloeffler.
And good day to you. This is Bob here at the Fearless Agent Podcast for real estate professionals just like you, where we explain that everything you've been taught by the real estate industry is wrong, and you will make lots more money in way less time by doing the exact opposite. And I am joined today by my guest host, Raymond Petrick, who hails from Elwood, Illinois. Isn't that correct, Raymond?
That's correct, Bob.
And we'll count that as Naperville-ish, right?
I would say, yeah, Naperville, Plainfield, that area, Joliet. Uh-huh.
Okay. So the greater Joliet Metroplex, as I like to call it.
There you go.
And they're famous for their prison, aren't they?
That's what they like to say. Now it's trucking.
Oh, trucking? Okay, so but you can still play a Johnny Cash album either way.
Either way.
All right. Well, Raymond, you're kind of new to Fearless Agent Coaching, and we had a short conversation this morning while I was on my way into Randy's Diner for a delicious and healthy breakfast. But you had mentioned that you had a listing, and we're not going to name any names, but you have a listing that is built in what year? What was it built? The one that was out in the boonies?
Around 2006, 2000 somewhere around there.
2006-ish. And now it is worth less than what he paid for it, if I get the story straight, wasn't it?
Correct. Uh-huh.
And then we talked a little bit about, and how much was it? You've listed it for how much?
$375 originally, and
okay.
I've just dropped the price at $365, and still no showing.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little lesson on that for those that are not Fearless Agent Coaching students. So in that price range, no one ever searches at a price in between. The way realtors search is they say, here's what I want for my buyer client, and I'm searching below $375, or I'm searching below $400, or I'm searching below $350. But no one in the history of real estate has ever searched $365 and below. So when you're priced at $365, you're actually giving away $10,000 of your client's money, and you're not getting any new buyers for it. So if you were to just draw a horizontal line across the piece of paper, everybody should do this. For those of you playing at home, the home version of the Hollywood Squares, or Fearless Agent Coaching as we like to call it, just draw a horizontal line and then do some little hash marks, verticals going, and put $375 in the middle. So then below that, put $350, and below that, put $325, and then above it, put $400, and then $425 above that. Okay. So that's kind of the way people search. So right now, you're priced at $375, even though you're asking $365, if you understand that.
Correct.
Right? So, and you're getting how many showings a week?
None.
Okay. So between $350 and $375, so if you were asking $351, you would be getting the same 0 showings. And then
correct.
If you were to price it at $324 or $349.9, you would have a whole new group of people that you would be visible to that you're currently invisible to. And
that's
my
correct.
guess is you're not even in the ballpark on that price, but you would get 3, and then at $324.9, maybe you would get 1 showing a day. So here's the moral to the story. People talk about fair market value like they know what it is, and they're always basing it on comps. So if I ask a typical realtor, what do you think fair market value is for your listing? They would say, well, I've got comps. And I say, well, here's the definition of fair market value. You're in the MLS, active. It's on lockbox. There's no angry tenant, no Doberman scaring people away. I can show it anytime I want, in other words. And you're getting 1 showing a day. So I did this with you, but if you're getting only 3 showings a week on your listing, could you ever argue that it's not overpriced? And the answer is no. In fact, we would argue that it is overpriced. Not a lot, but a little. And if you're getting 3 showings a day on your listing, we could argue that it's underpriced. Not a lot,
Correct.
but a little. So 1 showing a day is in between that, and it has been my experience. And, I'm so old that I started with a company called Century 19. Did you know that? That's how old I am. Like
I believe it.
When you were a kid, you were playing with Lincoln logs. I was playing with Lincoln. That's how bad it is. So, it is my experience that if you have a listing in any market, in any price range, in any town, and you're getting 1 showing a day, assuming that the market is not plummeting, then you're going to wait no less than 30 days, and it will sell at that price. But the goal for me would be to sell my house for more than it's worth, or my listing. So, and you ascertained that you think, it is your opinion, that 325 would get you 1 showing a day.
For sure.
And then I asked you, would your seller sell it for 325? And you said maybe not.
Correct.
So he's the guy that if I say, hey, I'll give you exactly what your house, that is for sale, by the way, there is a sign in the yard, if I give you exactly what it's worth, he might actually say no to that.
That's correct.
Which is proof of what? Insanity, perhaps? Yeah, that's what that is. Okay. I'm not a shrink, but I know crazy when I see it. I think that's probably crazy.
Well, they don't want to face reality then. Yeah.
Well, here's reality for him. So it's an investment property. He's not living in it. And you said he did live in it when he bought it, right?
Correct.
Okay, so it was his personal residence. Then he turned it into a rental, which is normally a horrible idea. But when it's going down in value, it wouldn't matter. But he because there will be no tax implications, because you'd have to have a gain to have capital gains. He will never have that in 10 lifetimes.
Right.
So because it is out on the outskirts of town, you and I and he, and we're all about the same age, very youthful and good-looking, 60-ish is what I'm talking about. We will not live long enough to see that property double in value. So that makes it the worst investment possible. So he should get out from under the debt on that, which is what he's got. And you could sell it perhaps for $350, but you're not going to do it by asking $325, which is what it's worth. It's certainly not going to do it by asking $365, which is way more than it's worth.
Correct. Yeah.
So
it'll probably have to be priced in that $325 range, I think, to get it.
Yeah, there's a difficult conversation that needs to be had with a guy like him, and it goes like this. Whoever sold you that house should be in prison for both malpractice and stupidity. Because in the universe of bad real estate investments that are single-family homes, which are the best of all the real estate investments, that is the worst. It will continue to go down in value. But even in a great market where other things are shooting up in value, it will go down. So, and I used an example of your house was built in 1995, right?
Correct.
So it's closer to town than his.
Right.
And then if you go even closer to town, and I mean any town, you would find 1960s houses that were, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot on little tiny lots, tract homes. And you told me they are selling for about $300.
Correct.
Now his house is how many square feet?
As you get closer to the city, they're always going to bring more money.
Right. Not only that, but they're going to be older, smaller, crappier, and more expensive. So you get way less for your money when you're in that 1960s neighborhood. People will pay extra to put up with all that because they don't want to drive 1 million miles for work. And how many square feet is his house built?
It's 3,400 square feet.
Right. So it's worth $325. It's 3,400 square feet. And those 1,500 square feet homes are selling for about the same amount of money.
That's correct.
And they're old and stinky and crappy, like my house, by the way.
Right.
I cornered the market on old and
almost an
stinky
acre.
and crappy, and I have a dog making it worse every day, by the way.
Right.
So that's the moral of that story. So if you look at those 1960s houses, they cost $20,000 when they were brand new. I happen to know. Okay, and now they've doubled and gone to 40. Then they doubled again and went to 80. They doubled again and went to 160, and then they doubled again, and now they're at 320. So they've doubled in value all those times, and it's because they're not way out in the middle of the boonies. So when you're an investor, the only thing you care about is rate of return. And real estate is about getting rich because you can rent a place to live. Now, the guy that is renting his place is smart because if he had bought it, he'd be broke for the rest of his life, like your guy's going to be if he doesn't sell this thing quick. Okay? So the tenant...
He's a great deal on the rent, too.
Yeah. So you need to explain that. When somebody is buried in something that's just a disaster, I had a stockbroker client one time, and I don't know nothing about the stock market. I know about real estate. But I said, I'll bet in your stockbroker and business that all successful investors have one thing in common. And he goes, that's exactly right. And I said, well, what is it? And he goes, when a stock starts going down, they don't ride it into the toilet, they sell it. And that's...
Oh, you're lost.
Yeah, cut your loss and get out. So that in real estate, there are no short-term trends. There are years and years of appreciation, and then you have years and years of it going down.
So that, and like this house is as a case study. So yeah, the market came back from the crash, but this home never came back to what its value was back.
Well, he
then.
didn't buy it after it crashed. He bought it right before it crashed.
Correct.
He bought it
But
at a hyped-up valuation that it never was worth.
Right.
That was never true.
And there's many homes out there, and then also you have people that went and tapped into their equity while that was all going on, and so they're even more upside down. You think, how can they still owe as much as they owe on a home that they've owned for the last 15 or 20 years? And that's how that
Right.
happens.
That's a good point. The guy who taps into his equity, what he's doing, so he refinances cash out of his house, and then he goes and buys a classic Corvette like the one you texted me a photo of.
Right.
So then he expects the buyer, because the buyer's going to pay not only for his house but his classic Corvette too. Because I have no equity in my house, so I have to sell it for more than it's worth because I need the buyer to pay for my Corvette and my house, right? Is that the way that works?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So a real seller is somebody who's nice, sane, and smart. It'd be great if they had a ton of equity to pay you with, which this guy does not. And they're very serious about selling their house right now at fair market value. Now, you can turn this guy, who I would call a gambler, into a seller by explaining to him what a disaster it is to own that house. So these are the difficult conversations we have to have with people. And by the way, for those of you who are listening in, and thank you, Raymond, for helping us today, and we're going to do some more talking about another thing that you are involved in that's a good lesson for everybody. But if any of this makes sense to any of you out there and you're earning less selling real estate than you wish you were, and you're open to the idea of having some help, if you would like to learn more, you can always call me anytime at 480-385-8810. That is my cell phone number. And let's just see if you and what you're trying to do and what we do here at Fearless Agent Coaching, if it would be a good fit. If it is, you're going to get rich. If you're like Raymond, and Raymond is the kind of guy who is just going to do what I tell him to do, he's not going to get creative. And I love talking to realtors. I don't want anybody to ever think they're bothering me. Don't email me. Don't text me, because there is no such thing as emailing or texting in sales. Unless it's a picture of a classic Corvette, that's different, right? But always call me, 480-385-8810. And if you can't afford our coaching, but you wish you could, go to fearlessagent.com, watch our free webinar. Is that how you found me, by the way? Did you do that? Watch
I found
the
you
webinar?
Somewhere online.
Yeah, somewhere online. If you go to somewhereonline.com, you'll find me. I'm right there.
I want to tell you something, though, and I'm just going to plug you. Is I've never had a coach, like an actual coach, and I did start cold calling this last year, and I called. I closed 10 FSBOs that I got starting in like June of last year, and then I tried expireds here in the wintertime, and I said I got to get better at this. I got to get a good listing.
Right, expireds are always good in the winter. It's a seasonal thing, but
right. That's right. But anyways, I started getting them, and that's why I signed up with you. I want to know everything that you said makes sense, and I'm like, I got to do this. So that's why.
I need you to tell that to my wife because she thinks quite the opposite, actually. Nothing I say makes sense to her. And that's the foundation of any successful marriage, I think.
For sure.
That, and I'll give you another tip on marriage. If you say these words over and over and over, you're right, I'm sorry, what was I thinking? Those, just repeat that over and over. It could never hurt you. So anyway, let's go back to, and by the way, for those of you who go to fearlessagent.com and watch the webinar, you can take notes. You can go to the video training page. My guarantee to you is those free videos would be way better coaching for free than you would pay any other coach any amount of money for. And so now, the other, you had mentioned another house, and I forgot the story. What was the story?
With the appraisal?
Yes, that was the one.
Yeah. So I have one right now that actually in a similar area. I'm out in the boonies sometimes. And it underappraised by $30,000.
Okay. And what was the asking price? Let's start with asking price.
Well, I had it overpriced. I'm going to stop doing that.
That's all right. But what was it? 550. And how many?
500.
Oh, not 550. 500.
Yeah. 500.
So asking price was 500. And how many showings did you get a week at that price?
As soon as I lowered to that, I got I would say 2 to 3 showings in a week.
Okay. Well, that would tell me that it's probably worth $475. Do you think I might be right?
Well, we actually got 2 offers on it.
That does not matter. Offers are not a measure of what something is worth. The number of showings a week. Yeah. So I'm thinking if you were getting 3 showings a week at 500, you're overpriced a little bit, not a ton. And that if you were at 475, I would predict that you would get 1 showing a day. Do you think I might be right about that?
I don't know about, maybe close. It's pretty far out. So. But
well,
anyway,
you were getting 3 showings a week, which is not nothing, at 500, and it was still pretty far out, right?
Right.
Like we used to say in the old days, far out, dude. That's far out, man.
But so then I immediately got offers, though, as soon as I, within the 2 weeks of.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about that yet, because I want to focus on the people that are listening. Not you. We're just here alone. This is fun. But do you think at 475, had you not gotten any offers, let's forget the offers, do you think you would have gotten 1 showing a day or more or less?
I'd have probably had to get down to 450 to get 1 a day.
Okay.
On that price point.
All right. So I think 475, you think 450. We're not going to fight about
it. Okay. All right.
So you got multiple offers at 475, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And then what happened? How much did you settle on? You agreed at a price. What was it?
470, but the first buyer backed out, and then I immediately got another buyer a week later at the same price, and then we ran into appraisal issues.
Okay, and then the appraisal came in at what price?
440.
Okay, so here's a lesson for everybody out there. No fearless agent. I want to make sure you understand me, so feel free to not get offended right away, okay? But no fearless agent would ever allow their seller to sell to an FHA or VA buyer. Let that sink in for a minute, because the appraisal will always come in low. So if let's say you had a standard, I'm only going to sell my listing or my own house to somebody who has 40% down or more to put down, then I know the appraisal is not going to come. See, if you're putting 50% down on a house and you're getting a conventional loan, The appraiser doesn't even slow his car down. He just drives by, goes, oh, yeah, it's still built. Okay, good enough, because there's no risk in that. So the appraisal never comes in low. And if you had been patient, you would have gotten a borrower with way more money down, and then you wouldn't be having the problems you're having. So now the seller is faced with, I'm going to have to lower my asking price or sales price to $440, or the buyer has to come up with more money to close, which they may not be able to do. And then you start over the third time. So rather than being strike three and you're out on the third time, just make sure you're patient. By the way, does the seller have a big deadline that they have to get out of there?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
Then be patient. So you can do two things in real estate when you have your house for sale. You can be patient, or you can be realistic. But you can't be unrealistic and impatient. Those don't go together. So what I would do, if it was my house, I would be, and you're asking how much right now, $450?
No, we're asking $499 or $500,000. No?
You're asking $499. So, and you're getting how many showings a week again? 3?
Well, I was getting 3 when I got
how many?
the offer.
Right.
Now I'm not getting any showings now. I mean,
well, no, because it's off the market. You're under contract.
Off the market.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're at 3 showings at 500, then I think 475 is probably fair market value. And if I asked 425, I would get 1 offer every single day. If I asked 399, I would get 2 offers every single day, wouldn't I?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Here's a rule of thumb. This will never not be true. The law of supply and demand will never ever let you down. It is like the law of gravity. You can jump off a building as many times as you want, but there will never be a time when you fall up. Wouldn't you agree?
For sure.
In Chicago, they have that wind all the time. That could blow you up temporarily, but you'll fall down sooner or later. So
that's right.
The reality is there's no way you could have dramatically increased number of offers on a property, and that would cause the market value of it to go down. It will go up. You will actually sell it for more than it is actually worth by doing that.
Correct.
So that would be a smart thing. If I was your seller, I would be begging you to list it at $399. Your seller might not be begging you to do that, but if I explained it to him, he would.
Well, that's why I'm taking the Fearless Agent. I'm going to know how to explain it to him.
Now, while we got you, what other issues are going on in your real estate career that you think I might be able to help you with? And I probably can.
Yeah. I'm thinking about moving and relocating. And my question was, how quickly could I adapt to that marketplace?
You know what? And it's funny. Next week's podcast, I'm going to be interviewing a guy who did that. But I'll give you a little teaser. He changed marketplaces. Now, it was only 2 hours away. He moved from Phoenix to Flagstaff. Flagstaff, by the way, today is like Minnesota winter. I think they're having a ton of snow, and I think it's like 7 degrees or something like that. 4 degrees. I just looked it up. So he had to start over. And he originally thought, I'm going to do business in my old marketplace, which is Phoenix, and just commute 2 hours to each listing appointment, which would be a 4-hour round trip. But for money, we'll do that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it turned out that he switched and then started doing Flagstaff only primarily now, I think, and things have turned out better. So when you do move, if you've built up your business in the town you're in, Naperville-ish, Joliet-ish, you can refer those. You could keep prospecting there and refer those to another agent. Maybe sell them on being Fearless Agent Coaching. That was self-serving. Did I just say that out loud?
Right.
No, it's a shameless plug. But it would help you. I mean, they'd get every listing and get it at full commission and pay you a referral fee. So the guy in Flagstaff, he did that. Mm-hmm. So that would be something. So when you're brand new in a market, there's a couple things going on. One of them is you don't know your way around like you do in the old town. So that's what GPS is for. Thank you, little baby Jesus, for that great invention. Then but every town has this. Okay, so what's the new town you may go to?
Huntersville, North Carolina.
Okay, so and that's a Charlotte suburb, right?
Yeah, it's north, about 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, so every town has the good side of town and the hood side of town. You might have noticed. So when you focus on telephone prospecting or door knocking or open houses or whatever you're going to do to generate business, then you want to focus on the older neighborhoods because they have equity to pay you with, on the good side of town, because the good side of town goes up in value when the bad side of town is going down. And your average sales price would be higher too, so there's that. There's certain things that never have any equity. One is condos, the other is multifamily, and luxury. Those three things never seem to go up in value, and they go down in value rapidly. They're the first thing to go down rapidly in a bad market, and they're the last thing to come up. So if you avoid luxury, multifamily, and condos and focus on single-family homes, I left one out, the outskirts of town. We just talked about that. So anything newer than, certainly anything built after the year 2000 is way too new. Like your house is starting to, I wonder if, your house was built in 95, I think you said. Is that true?
Yeah.
I have my doubts about that having doubled in value by now since it was built. Do you think it has?
No.
Yeah. Well, then you need the whole area to have doubled in value since it was built. So you might go to 1980s and older. Now in Charlotte, that might be different. I think it would be because the taxes are lower. In towns where they have very high property taxes, things don't double in value because that's a downward pressure on appreciation. So that's kind of the model is when you're looking for appreciation, go to the good side of town, older neighborhoods. They have older people with equity, and single-family homes only for your targets.
And my thought too, and if and when I do move, is also not that I'm not focused, but I think you would even be more focused because it'd be like you're burning the bridges, and you got to just zone in on what you're doing, and you'd even be more focused in getting new business. Yeah,
it would be no different than if you were. How long have you been in real estate?
Full-time 5 years, but I was in it for actually 20 years, but I actually got out of it for a while back.
Well, it would be like that. When you got out of it and then got back in, you had to kind of start over.
Yeah.
So it would be no different.
Yeah, I did over 100,000 in GCI my first year back. So I just jumped in.
Yeah. So it's not going to be, and that is a testament to your hard work.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you knew what to do because you did have years of experience. So it really wasn't like you were brand new, but you did have to start over.
No.
So you won't be brand new when you go to Charlotte, but you will have to start over. But you do know what to do. And then if you don't, you can call me. I'll tell you what to do. So that makes it easy.
That's right.
All right. Well, hey, Raymond, I want to thank you very much for participating in the Fearless Agent podcast. By the way, if any of you would like to send your referral to Raymond Petrick, I do recommend that. He will do a fantastic job for you in Elwood, Illinois, Naperville, Joliet, or any of those other towns that he mentioned. And you can call him toll-free day or night at 815-462-4971. You can call Raymond, and he will gladly accept your referrals. And thanks again for joining me, Raymond. I had a great time. And once again, we want to thank all of you for joining us today. So please do visit us at fearlessagent.com. You can call me directly at 480-385-8810. Please, if you have any friends that have not subscribed to our podcast, recommend it to them. Give us a review. Please give us the 5-star review. We're not looking for the lower reviews. We want that. Visit us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, your local auto dealership, Starbucks, the dry cleaners, wherever I show up in town. I'm all over the place. Until next week, always do what every fearless agent does. They always have fun, because if it isn't fun, we're not doing it. Always be humble, and most of all, be fearless. Thanks, gang.